Should governments negotiate with terror groups? And if not, are the exceptional cases like perhaps this one of the Nigerian girls? Well, to discuss this more now, I'm joined from our Pretoria studios by senior researcher at the Institute for Security Studies, David Zounmenou. David, thank you very much for your time. And yes, simply the question is this morning, should governments, especially with the situation in Nigeria now, be negotiating with terror groups?
I think it's always a difficult question for government because you have two lines of argument. The first line is that governments would not negotiate with terror groups, and we've seen that instances in Algeria. It's zero tolerance in terms of negotiating with terror organizations, and the U.S. also. But the context of Nigeria is quite specific because negotiation has always taken place, has been used, and dialogue has always been used by the government to try to calm the orgy of violence unleashed by Boko Haram. In this specific context, I think the Nigerian government does not want to display some weaknesses or to jump on the opportunity that Boko Haram is offering. They still want to operate from a strength point of view, and that's why you see a kind of ambivalence, whether negotiation is advisable or whether dialogue will be the way to go. The life of 200 and more children is at stake, and government need to know how to approach this very carefully now that the international community is mobilized around to support.
I mean, one has to, like you rightly said, weigh up the number of hostages we're looking at here. We're not just looking at one or two people. We're looking at more than 200 girls in this case. What is the tack that the Nigerian government should actually be taking if they do decide to go this route?
I think there are various options available to the government because one thing that has always been missing is really the right information. The intelligence gathering has been weak throughout the fight against Boko Haram, and the focus on a military strategy has shown a limitation and weaknesses. And they say now that the U.S., excuse me, the UK, France, and China, and other partners are joining in, I think they will certainly provide this is what I call technological input that they need to track down the group and locate where they are, and now see what kind of action they can engage in to be able to save as much as possible, as many as possible, the girls that are abducted, because they cannot really engage in a military action alone in attempt to save the girls. At certain point, there will be some element of negotiation. Maybe the government authorities will not go public on it, but they will certainly there will be some kind of a negotiation to be able to save those children and return them to their family and to their schools.
Now, we're looking at Boko Haram's demand, and we're looking for the release of prisoners. We don't know exactly what type of prisoners, possibly dangerous prisoners as well. Do we also have to consider putting Nigeria at large in danger, the rest of its citizens as well, if these men or women, we're not sure exactly who they are released?
No, definitely. I think so far the government has been successful in pushing Boko Haram out of Maiduguri and in the far east of the country. And also have been very successful in protecting state institutions, but they have not anticipated the fact that Boko Haram will change the strategy in their process, focusing more now on vulnerable citizens or institutions like schools and mosques or markets or train station where government doesn't necessarily put security measures in a place. So if in that context you succumb to the blackmailing strategy of Boko Haram by releasing individuals that are in jail that are seen to be even more radical than Abubakar Shekau, then you are putting the life of 160 million people in danger. So it's quite a delicate process for Nigerian government to see. Plus, we're not even sure if some of the prisoners are still alive, because some of them certainly might have been executed or might have died, or there may be some issues regarding the death. I think there will be a need for Nigerian government to give some guarantee to Boko Haram, provided that the children are returned safe and Boko Haram returns to violence in pursuing what they want to achieve in Nigeria in terms of creating Islamic law, wherever they want to put it.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Senior researcher at the Institute for Security Studies, that's David Zounmenou in our Pretoria studios.
Know more about your world. eNCA.com